Good day everyone! For today's lecture, we will be discussing about Unit 4, A World of Ideas. In my part, I will discuss to you the global media cultures. Globalization entails the spread of various cultures. For example, Hollywood films is not only shown in the United States, but also in other cities across the globe. Psy's song Gangnam Style may have been about a wealthy suburb in Seoul, but its listeners included millions who have never been to Gangnam. Next is globalization involves the spread of ideas. For instance, the notion of the rights of LGBT communities is spreading across the world and becoming more widely accepted. As time goes by, globalization relies on media as its main conduit for the spread of global culture and ideas. Well, have you wondered if global trade, empires, arts, music, religion, and the like would develop without the intermingling of media and cultures? That is what we are going to learn as we go through our discussion. To further understand the contemporary world, let us discover the intimate relationship of globalization and media. Media and its functions. Media, as means of conveying something such as channel of communication, as described by Jack Lull, a professor of global studies. Technically speaking, a person's voice is medium. However, when commentators refer to media, or the plural of medium, they mean the technologies of mass communication. Print media includes book, magazine, and newspaper. Second, broadcast media involves radio, film, and television. Third, digital media cover the internet and mobile mass communication. Within the category of internet media, there are the email, internet sites, social media, and internet-based video and audio. Media can easily be defined, but it's more difficult to determine what media do and how they affect societies. Marshall McLuhan, a media theorist who once declared that the medium is the message. He did not mean that ideas or messages are useless and do not affect people. Rather, his statement was an attempt to draw attention to how media as a form of technology reshapes societies. Thus, television is not a simple bearer of messages. It also shapes the social behavior of users and reorients family behavior. Today, the smartphone allows users to keep in touch instantly with multiple people at the same time. Consider the effect of the internet on relationships. Prior to cell phone, there was no way for couples to keep constantly in touch or to be updated on what the other does all the time. So the technology or the medium and not the message makes for this social change possible. Next slide. McLuhan added the different media simultaneously extend and amputate human senses. New media may expand the reach of communication, but they also dull the user's communicative capacities. So think about the medium of writing. Before, people wrote things down on parchment. Exchanging stories was only done or mainly done orally. To be able to pass stories verbally from one person to another, storytellers had to have a retentive memory. As a result, storytellers no longer had to rely completely on their memories. This development, according to some philosophers at the time, dulled the people's capacity to remember. Something similar can be said about cell phones. On the other hand, they expand people's senses because they provide the capability to talk more people instantaneously and simultaneously. On the other hand, they also limit the senses because they make the users easily distractible and more prone to multitasking. This is not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a merely change with a trade-off. The question of what new media enhance and what they amputate was not a moral or ethical one, according to McLuhan. Next, new media neither inherently good nor bad. So the famous writer was merely drawing attention to the historically and technologically specific attributes of various media. Now let's proceed to the global village and cultural imperialism. Now what is global village? The idea that people are connected by easy travel, mass media, and electronic communications and have a single community, just like now. Next, what is cultural imperialism? It's a process of social influence by which nation imposes on other countries. It sets beliefs, values, knowledge, and behavioral norms, as well as its overall style of life. McLuhan used his analysis of technology to examine the impact of electronic media. McLuhan declared that television was turning the world into a global village. So by this, he meant that as more people sat down in front of their television sets and listens to the same stories, their perception of the world would contract. If tribal villages once sat in front of fires to listen to collective stories, the members of the new global village would sit in front of bright boxes in their living rooms. Years after McLuhan, media scholars further grappled with challenges of a global media culture. Global media had a tendency to homogenize culture. Then, as global media spread, people from all over the world would begin to watch, listen to, and read the same things, right? And this thinking arose at a time when America's power had turned it into the world's cultural heavyweight. So, commentators therefore believed that media globalization coupled with American hegemony would create a form of cultural imperialism, whereby American values and culture would overwhelm all others. Next, Herbert Schiller, a media critic, in 1976 argued that not only was the world being Americanized, but that this process also led to the spread of American capitalist values like consumerism. Tomlinson worked as a consultant on issues of globalization, culture, and politics to several international public sector and institutions including UNESCO. Cultural globalization is simply a euphemism for Western cultural imperialism, since it promotes homogenized westernized consumer culture. These scholars who decry cultural imperialism, however, have a top-down view of the media, since they are more concerned with the broad structures that determine media content. Moreover, their focus in American has led them to neglect other global flows of information that the media can enable. This media cultural imperialism theory has, therefore, been subject to significant critique. Of course, if there is cultural imperialism, there is what we call the critics of cultural imperialism. Proponents of the idea of cultural imperialism ignore the fact that media messages are not just made by producers, they are also consumed by audiences. In the 1980s, media scholars began to pay attention to the ways in which audiences understood and interpreted media messages. So, the field of audience studies emphasizes the media consumers are active participants in the meaning-making process, who view media text in media studies. A text simply refers to the content in a medium through their own cultural lenses. Let's proceed. Ayen Ang, Indonesian cultural critic. In 1985, she studied the ways in which different viewers in the Netherlands experienced watching the American soap opera Dallas. So, through letters from 42 viewers, she presented a detailed analysis of audience viewing experiences. Rather than simply receiving American culture in a passive and resigned way, she noted that viewers put a lot of emotional energy into the process and they experience pleasure based on how the program resonated with them. In 1990, Elihu Katz and Samir Liebes decided to push Ang's analysis further by examining how viewers from distinct cultural communities interpreted Dallas. So they argued that texts are received differently by varied interpretive communities because they derived different meaning and pleasures from these texts. Thus, people from diverse cultural backgrounds had their own ways of understanding the show. So, cultural imperialism thesis has been belied by the renewed strength of regional trends in the globalization process. Asian culture, for instance, has proliferated worldwide through the globalization of media. Japanese brands from Hello Kitty to Mario Brothers to Pokemon are now indelible part of global popular culture. And I know all of this we have already noticed or experienced the Japanese brands, how it influenced every people in the world. The same can be said for Korean pop or the K-pop and Korean telenovelas, which are widely successful regionally and globally. I admit that it was quite observable that how the Korean pop and Korean telenovelas are very influential, especially in this generation. The observation even applies to culinary taste. The most obvious case of globalized Asian cuisine is sushi, the widespread of McDonald's in Asia. The Philippines Jollibee claims to be the number one choice for fast food in Brunei. So, it's true. Given these patterns, it is no longer tenable to insist that globalization is an indirectional process of foreign cultures, overwhelming local ones. Last slide. Globalization will remain an uneven process and it will produce inequalities. It leaves room for dynamism and cultural change. This is not a contradiction. It is merely a testament to the phenomenon's complexity. That's all about my topic, and I hope you learned something from my discussion. Thank you for listening.
Good day, dear classmates. Welcome back to this another session. I am Hazilu A. Fernandez, and I will be your lecturer for today's session. Okay, last meeting, Michelle T. Granyan already started the discussion with regards to media and the globalization. But there is this one subtopic that was not included, and it is about the social media and the creation of cyber ghettos. Michelle T. Granyan only discussed about the global village and the cultural imperialism and also the critics of cultural imperialism. Now let us proceed to the lecture proper. Okay, the social media and the creation of cyber ghettos. Now, we all know that we are now on the 21st century, right? Or what we call the information age, and the use of technology is rampant. And one of the product of technology is the social media like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And it is very important for us to understand what is the connection between social media and the globalization, and what are the things that are created due to use of social media in globalization. As you can see in the presentation, social media is defined as a means of interaction or a web-based communication tools. So basically, social media is used to interact and communicate with other people. With social media, you can create, share, and exchange information and ideas with other people, may it be on the other country or the same country but different towns. In social media also, you can share your express ourselves in any form like photo, audio, or a combination of the two. And of course, with using social media, there are still limitations. There are few media scholars that argue that the world is becoming culturally homogeneous. So, when we say homogeneous societal culture, it means that shared meanings are similar, but there is still a little variation with the beliefs that may arise. And with those existing variation of beliefs, cybercrimes or creation of cyber ghettos may arise. Okay, because of the differences of belief, there is what we call cyber ghettos. It means a home on cyberspace for marginalized group of people. So when we say marginalized, it means it is a group of people that is discriminated. In the previous lesson, the globalization was defined as the exchange of goods and services, and as technology arises or the innovation of technology arises, it cannot be denied that it allows the process of globalization to become faster than what we used to experience before. Now, with a worldwide use of technology, it creates an opportunities on a larger scale. So, mas daghan og opportunities with the use of technology. And it cannot be denied that the globalization is anchored with the creation of networks with the use of social media. So, mao na siya ang gamit niya. Sa social media, you can create a wide network that can be a contribution with regards to globalization. So that is why when using social media, we should always remember limitations, and we should bear in our minds that we should be cautious enough on the information that we provide on the social media. Now, these are the highlights or the things that we should remember always when it comes to the social media and the globalization. First is the internet is, you said that the internet and social media are proving that the globalization of culture and ideas can move in different direction, because in social media natin makita nga different cultures, like diba, makita tayong mga videos and images which are about the Koreans, about the Americans. Masing wala ta dito nga lugar, wala ta dito nga country, we can learn their culture, ma-adapt na to siya, for example sa atong pananamit, sa atong pagstorya, because there are some Filipinos that wants to learn different language. So sa social media makatuon sila ana, and nasa sila yung mga ideas nga makuha from the other countries and other culture. Next is the social media is challenging previous ideas about media and the globalization, because of course every day in the social media daghan kaayog mga information which are added, daghan kay kanang mga new information that are added or posted on social media. That is why it is said, or it is believed, that the previous ideas are being challenged because of social media. Next is social media have both beneficial and negative effects. So as what I have said earlier, naa siya negative effects, especially kung di mo siya gamiton og tarong. Now, it could be beneficial for us because naghantag mga ideas nga makuha sa social media. There are a lot of useful information that we could use from the social media nga atong ma-access, nga free lang siya. But of course, negative effects, for example, kung di mo makontrol mo sarili when it comes to the use of social media, like addiction na siya. So in that way, maapektuhan ang imuhang performance in everyday life. Kay na-addict naman ka sa social media, so di na mo makontrol, basi unsa na lang imuhang ina-post, you are not cautious enough when it comes to posting your opinions, your ideas on social media. So it could be harmful for you. It could give you a negative effect. Now, that is why as consumers of social media, users must remain vigilant and learn how to distinguish fact from falsehood in a global media landscape that allows alternative facts. Because on social media, daghan kaayo og lahi-lahi nga mga information, and it cannot be denied that there are information provided on social media that are not true. Kanang opinion lang siya ba? So, wala ginabasihan nga wala factual evidence. So, that is why kailangan makabalupod ta to determine kung whether ang information ba nga ato ang gina-access is tama ba siya, true ba siya, or mali. Now, let's proceed to our next topic, which is about the introduction to globalization of religion. Now, I will only provide little information about it, because later on it will be discussed further by our classmate Shane de la Serna. Okay, when we say religion, it is something, or it is one of the topics that is hard to tackle, because there are some people who deeply believe only on their own religion. They don't care about the other religion. Okay, what is religion? As you can see in the presentation, religion is defined as the system of socially shared symbols, belief, and rituals that is directed toward the sacred, supernatural realm that addresses ultimate meaning of existence. For the Hinduism, daghan sila og ginatuohan nga God, but for Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, they only have one God. For Christianity, Jesus Christ. Islam, Allah, and Judaism is Yahweh. So the question is there really a globalization of religion? Yes. As people grow and experience different problems in life, or maka-encounter sila og lain mga tao, their perspective and beliefs may also change. That is why there is a conversion of religion nga nagahitabo sa atong society. So that's it. It will be further discussed by our classmate on the next session, Shane de la Serna. So I hope you have understand my discussion. Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone, I'm Kishane, and I'm welcoming you all to Lesson 6, The Globalization of Religion. Under globalization and religion, we have the realities, religion for, and against globalization. Are you all ready? Let's begin. Globalism and religion was entirely a contrasting belief system. They are both separable. In this, we will discuss what is meant in religion and what is meant also in globalism. In religion, it is concerned with the sacred. One example is the Bible. It is one of the concrete evidence of faith in religion. In Christian, religion follows the divine commandments. In Catholic, we have the 10 Commandments. It is the God-made laws. Assumes that there is the possibility of communication between humans and the transcendent. It is specifically refers to the communication between the Lord and you through a prayer. Religious people are less concerned with wealth and all that comes along with higher status, standard of living with that of the rest of the community, exposure to culture, and the top of the education for the children. Simply, a religious people were the goal of is to live to have a virtuous life in a sinless living. For as if they dies, they would really think where did they go? It's maybe on the hell or heaven. In religion, it's inspired to become a saint. Yes, that we are really guided with the commandments to do what is right and not what is wrong. Religious detects people in the quest for power for their evidence of humanity's weaknesses. That is the reason why religion and the state is magkahiwalay talaga, sapagkat meron silang iba't ibang paniniwala na hindi gusto ng religion pero ito gagawin ng state. Hindi naman, or gusto ng state pero hindi din naman gusto ng religion. Like, they're both contrasting to their belief system. While in globalism, it places value on material wealth, simply that everything is measured and counts. Abides by human-made laws, not like the religion. They follow the 10 Commandments to love one another, to love your enemy, to follow God with all your heart. Now, unlike the globalism, it follows the human-made laws. We have the Republic Acts, the penalties, the different laws on different accident or situation that you would going to do. You should follow it, or else you would gonna be prison or being penalized. Next, globalism yardstick, however, is how much of human action can lead to the highest material satisfaction and subsequent wisdom that this new status produces. Well, basically, in globalism, it really focuses itself on achieving greater things in life. That you would go high and then aim what is really the best. Yes. Next, globalists are less worried about whether they will end up in heaven or hell. Their skills are more pedestrian as they aim to seal trade deals, raise the profits of private enterprises, improve government revenue collections, protect the elites from being excessively taxed by the state, and naturally enrich themselves. Well, of course, hindi naman lahat ng nasa state is mali yung mga ginagawa. One of the reasons why they have these different laws which aims or purpose is to protect also humankind. The globalist trains to be shrewd business person. Well, they are really focused, as I've said earlier, they're really focused of earning money, getting wealth, pride and honor, and to really have that happiness that is just or being attained through working, going to school every day, and earning money and money. The globalist values them as both means and ups to end up further the economies of the world. Yes, it really implies on the economy. As I've said earlier, nakafocus talaga yung mga, or in globalism, they're really focused on the future of the specific country. Kung maghihirap ba, kung yayaman ba, ganyan, ano kailangan, pagkain, lahat-lahat na. Finally, religion and globalism clash over the fact that religious evangelization is in itself a form of globalization. The globalist ideal, on the other hand, is largely focused on the realm of markets. The religious is concerned with spreading holy ideas globally, while the globalist wishes to spread goods and services. Well, they're both good, the religion and globalism. They are different, or they have their different purpose, which is really to help in religion to be guided to do what is right and to share the holy things or spiritualism, while in globalism, spread the goods and services. Isolation justification. The followers of Dalai Lama established a Tibet to create impenetrable sanctuaries where they can practice their religion without the meddling and control of the state of the authorities. The purpose of this is to have the focus of their religion without any distractions and controlled, most especially by the state. Peter Berger argues that from being secularized, the contemporary world is fearlessly religious. They are veritable explosions of religious fervor occurring in one form of another in all the major religious tradition. We have the Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and even Confucianism. Religions are the foundation of modern republics. Yes, religion is really the foundation of all. Religion for and against globalization. There is hardly a religious movement today that does not use of religion to oppose profane globalization. Yet, two of the so-called old world religion, which is the Christianity and Islam, see globalization less an obstacle and more as opportunity to expand their reach all over the world. Opo, grabe kasi ang impact ng globalism or globalization. Nadadala ka sa mga lugar na dati hindi mo kayang dalhin, napapaabot lahat ng mga informations na hindi kayang dalhin ng kung ano man. Kumbaga, napakalaking tulong ng globalism or globalization in religion and spreading and enriching all over the world. Globalization has freed communities from the constraint of the nation state, but in the process, also threatened to destroy the cultural system that binds them together. Religion seeks to take the place of these broken traditional ties to either help communities cope with their new situation or organization them to oppose the major transformation of their lives. Provide the group of moral codes that answer problems ranging from people's health to social conflict, even personal happiness. The Catholic Church and its dynamic leader, Pope Francis, likewise condemned globalism as a throwaway culture that is fatality destined to suffocate hope and increase risk and threat. Well, take note of Pope Francis. He is Pope in the Catholic Church. As he condemned that this globalization would just be a throwaway culture, that instead of bringing hope, that would just suffocate and increases risks and threats. Yes, on my part, maybe yes. But there are also some, or on the other hand, let us just try to see what is good for everybody. Religion and globalization, or globalization in religion, for me, may not be a good thing. Separate sila. Kasi kayang tumayo ng religion itself. Kaya rin naman ng state. Yes, kailangan nila ang tulong ng bawat isa, but the foundation of themselves or the both being parties are there. Globalization of religion was good, but it will really talk about a lot. I hope that you get and learn something from this report. Thank you everyone, and God bless.